Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Bensday with Batgirl Ben. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Still dying. Is my 600i ready yet? I just ordered it about a week ago, and
No, we're still putting on the primer.
am I Carrick? Just kidding.
I don't know if I want to do this show anymore.
You know I'm just kidding with you. I'm just doing to you what people do to me. If we can't have fun with it, we know it takes...
We have to have fun or we would go crazy.
You know, it's like I started thinking about the length of time it's taking to make the game, and then I started looking at pictures of the giant gaping hole in southern Manhattan for 5 years before it started to turn into a skyscraper.
And and I don't want to touch that analogy, but once you really start building it, it shows up much more quickly than you expect. It's that foundation building that's tough.
Yeah, I think it was Eden Star that started talking about how long it takes to make a skyscraper or a building. And it's like, once you get the foundation, and the way I started looking at it was 1.0 and 2.0 were like, all right, this is what the game is going to be a little bit like, and this is our test of like certain systems. And 3.0 is the laying of the foundation.
Very much so. We're going to build our skyscraper on.
So 4.0 is going to be like the girders and the windows and the furniture. It's going to be all that stuff?
Sure, I will promise girders and furniture in 4.0. You heard it here first.
Girders and furniture. That sounds like construction. A construction ship? Could we have a construction ship? I can't.
Not going there.
I can't get you on anything. So... I don't know, since we're already starting on a little bit of humor. Well, I think it's humor. People might not. Let's give a Mover Marcus question. We like those, don't we?
I like everything Marcus does.
All right.
That I know of.
Okay, this has to do a little bit about... No, I guess it's not you. It's... Okay. People worshipping Benny got Bennyhenge with 3.0 and the surface outposts. Isn't it time for the Church of the Lamp also to get a place to worship in a nice... well-lit outpost?
I would like to see people build their own lamp shrine. I want people to get thousands and thousands of the lamp items from the Voyager Direct and just pile them up somewhere until the game breaks. And, you know, I have full faith that will happen very quickly.
You just asked people to do it. I think that could be crazy. Do you have a specific place in the universe you want that? Oh, we can't tell us yet, can you?
Can't tell you, but there's some good places on the moons where you can stash a couple million lamps.
I don't know. I'm thinking Goss is such a beautiful place. If you do that there, I'm going to be upset. All right, so we have Jack Heap. What price range will the Game Changer be in? You're not ready to release that, right?
I'm not. I'm sorry. It has not gone through the official pricing process, and I can't give away any details anyway. I'm sorry.
Will it be as huge as China? Sorry, I can't do a good Donald Trump.
Neither can Donald Trump anymore.
Let's not mention it. We're going to back off from there a little bit, okay?
I have no politics to argue.
Yeah, I don't have the dun-dun-dun that we have at Lightspeed Lunatics. Let's look at a question from one of my great one of our viewers that actually writes in online, and this is from Homer, and he says... he talks about how great we are. Thank you so much. Ben, say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he says, we are wonderful. But he says... So,
this is about the A90 jump.
We're going to finish this. Okay, how did you guess? Did you read this one?
No, I've seen his tweeting at me.
Okay, so this is going to be about the 890 jump, okay? so you know it's coming?
Before the question, I'll go ahead and say I'm sorry I don't have any updates on the 890 jump. It has not gotten to the point where they're building it out yet. We're doing the smaller origin ships first. And one of the reasons we did the 600 right now is to leapfrog onto the jump and the development side, but no updates to share.
So you know what? I'm going to let Homer have his day in the sun here because he had a question asked and you answered it before the question. So Homer's question, which was just answered, was, so this is my first time and I'm going with the 890 jump, something we both should be pretty interested in, right? Wink. The actual question is for Ben. Since the 890 jump is already being developed for about half a year now, it's actually a lot more than half a year. Is there any updates that you can give us on the 890 jump? Has she grown? Will she really be as awesome as the sales pagers and brochure says? So Ben answered that question. Thank you.
I mean, it will be more awesome than the sales page because it's Foundry. They're gonna make that thing bigger and fancier. But there's nothing to share specific yet.
Okay, that's good. Nothing specific. Oh,
sorry. Once we get there, I am eagerly awaiting a point when I can tell people all about what we're doing at the jump. So
it seems like there are ships that are going to be in Squadron 42, and then there's the other ones. So have all the Squadron 42 ships been brought up to that level of detail that you're looking for?
I think we're pretty much, as far as I know, all the ones I touch, I don't follow the Vandal ship stuff much, and that's very important for Squadron, but the stuff I'm involved with is Squadron ready.
Okay. All right, that's good. So, Selthakar wants to know, there was once talk about showing us that CIG actually calculates the price, how CIG actually calculates the price of ships. I've seen this somewhere before, though. Would it not be great to make a happy hour feature about ship concepting and pricing like you do with the the cockpit design? Can you
1,000% absolutely would love to, and we've been talking about it.
All right, you should put that on, because I think that actually would lay to rest a lot of the questions about cost of ships, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so that was Selthakar. You were just like right on. You're like just like, I'm going to answer that question.
I'm ahead of you.
You know,
I didn't get the question in advance, did I?
No, you didn't, but you know what?
I've just had a lot of Diet Red Bulls today.
Okay, part of this show, though, is so these people that write in get to hear their questions being answered on the show, asked on the show, because they're important to us, right?
But don't they want to know that I know them personally so well that I know their specific questions?
Well, they might have something else in there, like yeah, there was nothing else. You answered that question. Never mind. All right, so let's go to China Shop Rodeo. Did you get any tweets from them?
In answer to the question, it's about 3 feet long.
Wait. You got to do the Johnny Carson when he held the envelope up to his head.
Oh.
Do you have a turban or whatever he was wearing?
Sorry, I don't have a turban.
Okay. People are like, Johnny who? In the Gamescom demo, one player equipped with a you were not even around during this. One player equipped with a weapon standing out in the open, not near an equipment locker or store.
Yeah. I'm sorry to do this again. Hold on just a moment. I have to help somebody.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
You just keep entertaining everybody as though
all right, folks. So it's really good to be here doing Bensday with Batgirl, and I'm going to answer a question for you right now. And that question is going to be, where is Sophie Cat? Like, where is Batcat? And Batcat is right here. Watch. All I got to do is snap my fingers, and Batcat comes running over, and she says, I want to be on camera, and she comes up, and she's on camera. Now, Batcat will never be the one that's sold for a ship. That will be the other cat downstairs. So one thing I want to point out to everybody is that I also do a show on Friday nights with Sophie Girl and with Eden Star, and that show is called Lightspeed Lunatics. And you should all tune in because it's on the Base Radio, and the Base Radio is awesome, and they're at twitch.tv/the Base Radio. Okay.
It's all lies.
It's not lies, it's live. Not lies. Live.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I just wanted to accuse you.
All right. I was telling everybody about the awesomeness that's going to be the Solar Forge ship, where you can actually build a star system with a ship that costs $300,000.
Yeah, but we call it the Star Maker, not the Solar... You totally...
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think I got you. Okay. All right, so Christopher Rodeo, what he's saying is that during the demo, these people they didn't have the equipment on them. You didn't see it. They weren't near a locker. They didn't have a bag, and they just pulled weapons out of nowhere. Are you going to be able to summon weapons out of null space when you're playing the game?
No, you're not. That's all just animations that are there and setting up the kits for the people in the demo beforehand. So that's not final.
And they might not even have the actual backpacks and side packs and all these other things in the game yet, right?
No, there's still stuff to be added in that. that regard. So, no, it's not. You're not going to magically make your weapons appear.
They can't make clothes until they have both genders in there, so they can make the clothes for both genders. Come on.
And how many of us have, walked out of Port Olisar without a spacesuit and learned the hard way that we're pretty serious about the process?
Yeah, what I liked about that was that somebody was explaining to me, or maybe I saw it on one of your shows, that it's not just about you not having air when you walk out. It's about being in this box that reacts with other pieces of atmosphere in other boxes. And then when you walk in there, forget it, people. It's so far above my head. All I know is it works like real life.
I know. All I know is I did it yesterday. I'm still doing that.
So we're gonna get to a question that has to do with that in just a second, because we're going to talk about how realistic is the game before it's not a game anymore. This is going to be from Frymaster, and he says, there was mention that there would be new levels added to the lower end of the referral ladder. Is this still planned? Any ETA?
It is still planned, but I don't have an ETA. We had a bunch ready, and we kind of looked at them and like, well, this isn't that exciting. It's, stuff you already have, stuff from the Voyager Direct. So it's one of those things where I want to wait longer and come up with something compelling instead of, hey, here's another gun you already have. So I don't have an ETA, but it is something we're working on.
It's nice to see you really busy today. Having to put me off for a couple of times because you have meetings and people bugging you. That means that there's work getting done there.
It's been crazy today. Aaron's here. It's a good week.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna ask a hard question that I know that you're gonna have a hard time answering, but you might bring it to somebody after I ask it. So we're gonna go to a question by oh, come on, those aren't questions, folks. Frymaster again. As ships get redesigned, like the Aurora and the AQ for the Killa, for 3.0, can we have a new Q&A page for them? Because what they're saying is that the Q&A that people are going to look at for those has changed because the spacecraft have been updated, and some of the items that were in those Q&As are no longer correct.
That would make sense. It's tough to...
It's like a revision.
It's tough to figure out exactly when you would do it in that case, but it is certainly something we'll look at.
I think concept ship and then flight ready are the 2 times, right? And then anytime you have a change after that, because it really needs to... people really use those for purchasing these ships, as we found out with the 600. I'm wondering that I'm seeing everything that's getting put into the game. Everything from how you load cargo to how you obtain your missions to stamina to maintaining relationships with different mission givers and different guilds, or what do they call them, organizations in the game? Now, where you get your missions and stuff. How realistic does the game get before it's not fun anymore? And when do you guys evaluate that? Do you evaluate that in the beta, or do you wait for people to start playing en masse?
I think we evaluate that constantly. And I can't speak for Chris Roberts, but my feeling is that his process is very much do this as realistically as you can and then come back, because it's so much harder to do it the other way.
Right.
We certainly saw with the physics and the combat schemes and the physics as we built out 1.0, and then all that seems like an overriding philosophy in all this is. And I saw that piece on last week's ATV, the stamina stuff, and that's a crazy amount of thought that goes into this, and is it going to be fun? And we're not at the point where we necessarily know yet. We're going to put it out there, and then we're going to figure out how to make sure it's fun.
I asked a lot of people if they actually watched that through, and many people that usually watch it all the way through, start to finish. I'd be interested to know any people that watch Bensday will be able to answer this. How many people watched it from start to finish? Because there was a certain... I know you would, Ben, because you're part of it. And I watched it, and I played it in the background. I had to watch it twice because there's a certain point that you get to, and you're like, that's just too much breathing talk.
Mm.
And I understand why it is, and I'm kind of impressed and kind of excited that it's going to be that detailed. But that was a lot of talk on stamina and how stamina affects not just one thing, but so many different things in the game.
Yeah.
Does it affect how much you smell after you run, so people being near you might not want to be near you? Is it getting
do I look like someone who runs?
No, I'm talking about the game, not in real life. Virtually. Do you look like someone
Luckily, I don't think anyone has considered the Star Citizen smellometer yet, and nobody say anything about it to Chris.
Everybody start tweeting. Chris doesn't read Twitter. He doesn't know how to. Oh, God.
I saw him use Twitter early on, but I think he made a pretty conscious decision at the very start that he'd rather be coding.
I think that's a good decision.
I enjoy Twitter personally. I find it the best way to... The toast? Yeah, it was toast.
Yeah, it was toast. So, there's... As I'm looking at newer ships, some of the older ships are starting to look old, like they're from a different game.
Mm-hmm.
And so, does that mean ships like the Mustang series are going to go through another rework?
There will be updates to older ships, but I can't say which or what order.
Well, of course you can't say which order because we don't even have things that we want out right now.
Yeah, but definitely a bunch of those early ships will need another pass. So the 300. I mean, I think we've already talked about the 300 is getting a rework, and some of the others are already scheduled. So.
Is the 300 actually in production? Been handed off to them now, or is it still waiting?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure. It's either next up or it is already with an artist, but I'm not sure offhand.
Captain Kern wants to know, will we be able to change the computers and components on a ship like the Carrack to make it a viable EW ship, similar to the Sentinel, only a more powerful scale?
My guess would be yes, but we should get those systems working before I promise anything.
And the second part of that question would be probably not as good as a dedicated ship like the Sentinel.
Certainly, that's a big part of the base philosophy is you can go in different directions with a ship, but the ship that's made for that role is going to be the most professional one. So if we had a specific S-Wax platform, that would be the best way to do it. And in other cases, it's kind of just reaching towards that.
All right. So have they started talking about how individuals might be able to build outposts on planetoids, asteroids, and moons yet?
I can't answer any part of that question in any direction.
That's not the right... I told you. The Game Changer was a construction ship. I can't do this.
I like following the different theories is all.
I know. With the 600 being the answer to the constellation from Origin, is there now a chance of this is from last week, consolidated or Drake-ish version as well?
Drake would make like the crummy version of the constellation.
We talked about the consolidated version of it a very long time ago.
We have.
And then you said that's off the table. You see them making something else now.
Yeah, I don't see them. I don't see Tesla as a competitor to any one company. I see Elon Musk going, here's a super future car that's better than anything, and here's a rocket, and here's a train tube. So I think if Consolidated Outland does something else, and they will do something else, it'll be a bigger deal. They were
just a software company at one point, right?
Yeah. They're going to disrupt some other industry with their next one.
So an industrial ship of some type.
Maybe, or you never know.
They're the Game Changer. You heard it here. Oh my lord! It could be anything, Ben. It could be anything. I gotta get Allie on at some point and start talking about like some of the merchandise that's coming out. Like the little men that were for sale on the store are not looking as good as they could be looking these days. Now that there's all these new armor sets and stuff. Remember the little green men?
Yeah, now we need little green women.
There are no women in this game. It's a sausage fest.
I know. We need to change that.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be changed for 3.0, so don't get my hopes up. Are you getting my hopes up?
I get everybody's hopes up, and it always disappoints people.
All right, now that the real... This is from Cartago, and he's asking... It's actually... Oh my God, there's like 3 parts to this question. Let's do it. We'll do these 2. Now that NPCs are becoming alive, when will we hear more about the weather and how in our account NPCs will work for us? Will we be able to qualify them for a distinctive job like scanning, etc.? There was answers to that question from Chris at one point.
Yeah, that's a Tony ZE question. I understand broad ideas of what they're going for, but I don't have the background with the subsumption stuff to know specifics.
Yeah. I think if you go back and you look through the 10 for the chairmans and the Tony Z conversation that was on CIG's web Star Citizen YouTube, you'll find that the way that you're going to do that is that how much you pay or are willing to pay for these people will get you more or less better people that you could hire, not always, but most of the time. And some systems might have more qualified people for one job than others. But that was Tony Z talking about it almost 8 months ago, right?
Yeah.
So things might have changed by then. Now that the real Alpha 3.0 is almost here, and we start moving towards Beta 4.0, which... Let's not even talk about Beta 4.
I don't know that that's the plan. But.
Buying ships with UEC is being treated starting with 3.0 AUEC. Okay, so I'm sure that this is a translation from Google or something. So now that we're moving towards 3.0 and we're looking at buying ships with UEC, that's not true. It's still Alpha UEC, right?
Yeah, it's still won't be a permanent change, but it's the formation of how the permanent stuff will work. We're going to learn how that works now.
So is it still too early to know if Alpha UEC moves away at the end of the 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, or it's probably all going to get reset in between, correct?
Yeah, there'll definitely be plenty of resets. I'm sure there are people for whom it is not too early, but it is too early for me because I have no idea.
I know this isn't something that you're responsible for directly, but since you are related to somebody that is, you might have heard this. Subscriber benefits right now give REC, which REC is becoming less and less important as we move into 3.0.
And UEC is more important, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see anything like $5, $5 worth of UEC a month or whatever it is? Do you see a move towards that at some point instead of REC?
Yes, we've certainly talked about that, but no decision yet. We do recognize that REC is.
I've got $1 billion REC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there will be changes. I can't necessarily say what they are.
Will I be able to trade in $1 billion REC for, say, $1 million UEC?
That's one of the things that I think you would never be able to do not because it doesn't make sense in our world, but it doesn't make sense in the Star Citizen world. I can't earn a bunch of World of Warcraft gold and then trade it for savings bonds. So
China exists on World of Warcraft transactions. Come on.
Well, okay, maybe like the
Aaron, I see Aaron. Go get him. Put him on. Come on, I want to ask him about the microbrewery version. He liked that idea. He really did.
Is he that over there? That's Ortwood's office.
No,
and there's never going to be a time where I first enter Ortwood's office.
Come over here, Aaron. Come on. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not going to work. He's not going to see me. He's going to.
Anyway.
That's the crazy lunatic that was trying to get me to make a microbrewery version of the Starfarer. No, but we don't see an idea of that. We don't see a way of that ever happening.
No, I mean, maybe there's like Jean farms that earn REC in Arena Commander and they sell it to you, but I wouldn't see it working the other way.
So have you watched The Orville yet?
Yeah, I watched the pilot.
What'd you think?
Well, first, what the hell is that?
I mean, Seth MacFarlane really likes Star Trek.
He clearly loves Star Trek. I am not a super fan of his humor. He's a little bit more frat boy-y than I like, but I respect him as a person, as a creator, and I love his work ethic. And it's just so weird because if you pivoted a little bit in this direction, it would be so good. This would be
less of that dry, missing point humor and more
just cynical stuff. I don't like the cynical
just let
stuff.
it be a satire, like it was. Just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And they already did a space program like that. It was the movie Galaxy Quest.
Arguably the best Star Trek movie.
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I loved it. Sigourney Weaver was so cool.
Galaxy Quest. And, I think it would be possible to do, a Star Trek with like a dry humor or like a self-referential humor, but it just kind of literally porting over that Family Guy humor just didn't quite do it for me. I'm going to follow it though. It's beautiful set design.
It was okay, and I think that if it doesn't go the way of every other show that Fox gets, Firefly, and they don't give it a chance to go, you suck, Fox. It could change. Hopefully, he is somebody that takes criticism and rolls with the punches. He has successful TV shows. He's had successful movies.
He means very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that he moves it to a point where we get something better over time, right?
And, Encounter at Farpoint looks nothing like what we think back to how great Star Trek Next Generation is, and we're not thinking of the first season. So these things need time to grow. But plus, it's an hour-long sci-fi show to end my week on. I'm not going to complain about that.
Wait, when's episode 2 on?
It's Fridays or Thursdays, or I don't know.
It's probably
I
tonight.
don't know.
I watch it on Hulu the day after. All right, so
I'll check my TiVo app.
Yeah, I'm going into just the last couple, which this is one from Sir Berticus. Nikki, please ask Ben where the Freelancer Durham Max actually are in production now that we've learned they haven't. Well, that's okay. So how are you going to be able to tell them where they are in production if they haven't started yet?
Yeah, that's literally where they're among the next couple ships, but
it's like when resources. It's like when resources free.
Yeah,
up.
when the previous one is done, then. So, but there's not a specific time.
Are you able to say what ships are being redone right now besides the 300?
No, because one of them's a surprise.
Surprises and game changers. That's all we get here and nothing else. All right, then that's it. Then I'm going to ask you a hard question just so you can say no again.
Thursdays. Orville and Thursdays.
So it's on tonight, which means tomorrow on
next
Hulu.
Week. I think it's the next. Oh yeah, no. Gosh, it's confusing me. There's not one this week. They're re-airing the first one, and so it's next week. Is its regular time slot? I don't know.
So they air the first one twice.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they tried to do that with the movie Inhumans or the TV show, whatever it was?
I heard the IMAX screening didn't go so well.
No, it did not go well. We all read that. It was a disappointment when they announced that they were going to make it. It was worse when they put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Right. And this is from Joran.
You know what is coming, though, is Star Trek Discovery. New Star Trek. You can't turn down new Star Trek.
Is it on TV or is it just on their web?
It's CBS All Access in the U.S. and it's Netflix everywhere else in the world. So
it's $5 a month for CBS All Access. You could watch it there, and that's going to be pretty awesome.
I'm definitely having a Star Trek party. When I was a kid and then a teenager, we would have a party whenever that new season started. So come on down to Santa Monica.
Well,
we'll all hang out.
Well, I love Star Trek. I love it, and another show. I just hope it isn't like that one too many that Stargate did with Universe.
Yeah, Universe. Yeah.
And now they have Origins coming out, so hopefully that makes up for it. But
I felt like they kind of got stuck in that Battlestar Galactica's dark. Everything should be dark. No, Stargate has a kind soul. It doesn't work when it's dark.
Well, the funny thing was, when we were at when we were at Dragon Con, they had Joe Flanagan, Rachel Luttrell, they had Christopher Judge, and the girl that played Kylie, Jewel State, and somebody else on a panel, and they were talking about how when Atlantis first came out, they did their best to keep the two groups separated because they thought that Stargate went too much towards the lighthearted side. And here
you know, Atlantis gets better once they get a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, and it's once they let Joe Flanagan be Joe Flanagan, it was awesome. You know,
once he's shooting scenery, once you have like the relationship with the doctor and what's her name, and once it became more human, it was great.
Yeah, it was. Once it became, and then they put the other one on, which was way too dark, and once they started, and they lightened it up like that much towards the end.
Yeah, it was like a shade.
Yeah, towards the end it got a little bit better, but it was a train wreck. So I'm hoping that this Star Trek is good, because the original Star Trek, the best part of it was that they were having fun doing it, and you can tell. You know. Last question for the night before I say goodbye. This is from Peter Cohen, and the Q&A referred to the 600i as not being as agile as in Kilo due to the bulk and mass. However, the stats for the Aquila are using old measurement system, whereas the 600i is using the new. When the Aquila is translated up to the new system, the mass is virtually identical to the 600i. Am I right about that?
I think they might be right about that, although I think the 600 ended up being a little bit larger than the last stats that were printed. That's my recollection. I'd have to check on that. So ask me again next week. I will follow up in the next week. But my recollection is it ended up that it was a little bit larger than the stats that were printed in the booklet.
Larger like size-wise or larger mass-wise?
Both.
Because it seems like it would have to be size-wise larger to fit everything that they said about it.
Yeah.
And you
that's my recollection.
And you still have like a rework of the Q&A at some point coming, right?
Definitely, yeah. We need to go back to some of that.
Are you going to collect more questions for that? Or just go back and re-answer?
I think we know what the problems are, so we're going to work with the design to get some more details on the luxury stuff, and then we'll get that out there.
All right, so let's hold on to the 600i questions until after we get that, so we know where they're going with it, because anything that we could ask right now, folks, could potentially be answered by whatever they're going to be giving us in the future. Ben, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. Of course.
I know both of us had our minds in different places tonight.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. It's a busy week at CIG.
It's not a problem. I want you to mull something over for next week, and that's one of the things that they said about Gamescom that was by having 3,000 more eyes, and this came from Eric Davis. Mm-hmm. He said that by having 3,000 more eyes, more hands, more people, playing that, it was actually 6,000 eyes, but playing the game, they actually were able to find more bugs. Do you think that it might be possible at some time in the future, before all the showstoppers are gone, to start letting parts of the Evocati have it, so you do have that opportunity to find those extra bugs? It seemed to be so useful from what he said.
I think it's possible. It would never be my call, though, so right. I couldn't promise that.
No, but you can go ask somebody and come back and tell us.
I'm not going into Orwin's office.
Okay. I'm sorry. I tried, folks, with many things, and Ben, I apologize. I'll never put you on the hot seat like that again.
No, you always should.
Okay. I'm sorry, though. I asked you a hard one to start with, and it was just to be funny. That's all.
It's totally fine.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Get back to work. Get us our game, because I'm so anxious to start playing.
I am so anxious for everyone to start playing. It's going to be good, and just have to get there.
It's going to be great. No, sorry.
I remember this with Arena Commander, with 2.0, and it's no matter how I can objectively, scientifically look back and okay, this is exactly the same as then. This is exactly the same as then. This is just how it works. But I want everybody to play. So
I understand. Believe me. And I really am one of those people that inside I say, take the time that you need, because I want it right. I want to know that when I play it, I'm really looking for the bugs that you didn't find and not finding the ones that were obvious and you knew about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Ben. And I will talk to you next week.
All right. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe, and comment below.
Patreon.com/Batgirl. And with that said, folks, thank you very much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.